And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com to download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Use that app for delivery. They will bring it to you pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up and save yourself 15% off all that delicious fried chicken goodness. All right, Aaron, well, we said to be determined on Friday, and there were two more things in the pipeline that the recruiting staff had kind of hinted at. One of them, a potential high school recruit announcing his pledge to the Bearcats. The other, a potential transfer recruit who had recently visited, announcing his pledge to the Bearcats. And guess what? Both of those things happened. Plus, there's an interesting name that has entered the transfer portal in basketball. And on top of all that, we've got a rule change in college football. So let's get it on.
Look at you rounding the bases and just all sorts of teasers, like you're on the radio or something.
It's like I'm a professional at this.
Stay ready. By the way, Cale Woodburn was ranked. He is now a
very highly
.8833, which makes him the second highest ranked recruit in this class and the 24th highest recruit of all time.
Just a tick under a 4-star, like right below being a 4-star prospect. So we talked about there was a good chance, like we had a feeling how some of the folks at 24/7 felt about that kid. There's a chance he was going to come in pretty highly ranked, and he was.
Came in hot.
So, hot. Let's get to it. First off, about 9 o'clock this morning, Clinton Senior High cornerback Zaravion Johnson goes by Zay, but more importantly, Aaron, did you see his nickname?
Goes by Gravy.
Gravy Johnson. Look, Sauce Gardner is a pretty dope nickname. It's one of the hottest nicknames in the game. If Gravy Johnson makes it big, that is a content landmine nickname. Gravy Johnson.
I saw a kid entered the portal today from North Carolina. His name was Storm Duck.
Yeah, I remember that one.
These
Gravy Johnson, Aaron.
Gravy Johnson is fun.
Johnson.
That's fun.
Zaravion Johnson, he's an 85 on 24/7 Sports. Doesn't have a composite yet, but has what you're looking for in terms of when you talk about the cornerback factory. 6'2", 170 pounds, good speed, good length. I think this is one of those that they were fortunate enough to get in on him before he blew up this summer, because this kid, I think, has all the measurables and plays at a really good high school in South Carolina. And I think there's a chance, you could be hearing a lot about Gravy Johnson down the road in Cincinnati. So I like this pickup for Cincinnati a lot. What were you able to ascertain on the internets today?
He followed me real quick as soon as I put out my usual gif about the kid's commitment. But no, I love the kid's size, and I love that he is what the previous regime had been recruiting more often than not in the 6'2" or better cornerback size. Comes in a little light. What the hell are you doing over there? Sounds like crazy town.
What do you mean it sounds like crazy town?
I
was getting a drink out of my Stanley.
Well, it sounded like you were rummaging through papers, and that's the noise. All right.
I try not to drink on stream.
Just hit mute. Goodness.
We were talking. I'm so
What do you
sorry.
think, Aaron? But I like his size. It comes in a little light, but I think he'll put on weight. He's not quite Sauce light, but
Sauce was 158 when he came in.
Nico gets his hands on him, and I'm sure that we'll see that push closer to that 200 mark.
Yeah, I mean, ideally at that size, like 190, 195 is all you need to be.
Yeah. unless he gains another inch or two as he progresses into his senior year.
Sure.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with old Gravy Johnson, but happy to have him in the fold. It's certainly more of the prototype corner that we're accustomed to seeing as opposed to some of the smaller guys that have been coming in. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the smaller guys, like there is like it or not, especially with everybody that left and everything that was going on, there is a size or a speed deficiency on this roster. And Dave and I have talked about it. And when you're going pure speed to like up the athleticism of the roster, you tend to go to some of those smaller guys. But then once you start addressing the speed, then you can start, okay, now we're going to go get some length. Now we're going to go get...
I guess I mean more Daniel James was 5'11", and that's certainly a much smaller corner.
No, I'm just talking about like the progression of things. Like there was a lack of speed on this roster. Like it's not that I think that the other staff didn't recruit speed. It's that I think a lot of that speed that they recruited is now gone, and you're replenishing some of that. But you're also looking for the other attributes, the size, the length, some of those things in different body types. So you can have an array of options, if you will.
Sure. Or even if you won't.
The other commit today, wide receiver, Tarvarius Dawson. Transfers from Auburn to Cincinnati. He was a top 400 recruit, 4-star recruit out of high school. Another, a little bit smaller, 5'11", 5'10", 5'11". Another 100-meter guy, another track guy. I think 10.58 was his best in high school. You keep getting me forget sub 11. Like this staff's looking sub 10.7, sub 10.6 is the type of speed that they want their guys to have. So this one, you get him from a power program. He redshirted his first year last year. He didn't play a whole lot, but you get a guy with 3 years left that's hungry and looking to make a splash.
He was a top 400 kid when he was initially recruited, a 4-star.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
But I'm reiterating it, and also I was looking up his actual post.
There you go.
Because that's a ridiculous edit. I think that's one of the more clean edits I've seen through this cycle.
Yeah, not too noisy, not too messy. Just C-ball thrown, chain committed. I like it.
But I did see he. I don't know if you saw his Instagram video or he had a short.
I did not.
Or something. He basically mentioned that I'm putting on this jersey, but they aren't wearing Under Armour next year, though.
There was a rumor of basketball staff out and about today in clothing that looked like clothing of yesteryear.
Not Under Armour. I don't know. We'll see.
There's a lot of there's not a lot of smoke anymore. No, there's not. No, there's not. No, there's not. There's a forest fire.
An inferno.
Smokey the Bear is like, whoa, chill.
But no, I think
this little forest. I think the smoke got out of hand. Huh?
This is a huge addition though to this wide receiver room. He has 3 years left, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely, let's go. I mean, we will be more than happy to pick up one man's trash as another man's treasure, and I think
they need slot receivers. They need help in the slot. Here you go, another 5'10", burner that you can use in the slot. You can use in jet sweeps. You can use on end arounds. You can use on bubble screens and tunnel screens. And
if you think that this isn't going to push Barry Jackson and vice versa, then you got to be kidding yourself. Because I think that while Barry put on a show, here's a guy who comes in, he's ready to do the damn thing, and I think they're going to push each other. And I'm excited to see that camp battle already.
Yeah. On the basketball front, There was an entrance into the transfer portal today. Maybe you heard the other day when I said, I don't know, in a couple days, I think there might be a name entering the transfer portal that could be an interesting name to monitor. I think I said that either. Was that on the BCJ pod Wednesday?
Who knows? We do a lot of shows.
Might have been the live show Tuesday. I don't know. It was something. But anyhow, yeah, CJ Frederick, Kentucky. Covcath alum, family is deeply intertwined into the fabric of Cincinnati. It is going to be crowded. There are, and it was reported today, and I can confirm it. You had Indiana reach out, and you had North Carolina reach out, and West Virginia, and Xavier, and Cincinnati, and Ohio State.
West Virginia. How does West Virginia even have spots open at this point? Goodness.
Well, they lose like 7 guys transfer out a year now.
I'm just saying, it feels like they've snatched up everybody in this cycle.
So it's going to be crowded. Like, there's going to be a lot of competition. But I do think Cincinnati is going to be heavily involved here. Does that mean I think Cincinnati is going to get CJ Frederick? I'm not at that point yet. Yeah. He just entered himself into the portal today. But I think the allure of coming home, I think the allure of he wants to be in a prominent role. Well, Cincinnati has a prominent role for him as a scorer on the perimeter without Dave DeJulius and Landers Nolly. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of things that make sense about CJ Frederick and Cincinnati kind of connecting.
And the longer he hangs out outside that arc, the far greater potential he has of making it through the season. Don't get injured, bro.
He's had some weird stuff, man. Like, he broke his ribs on a camera underneath the basket this past year.
That's a real weird one.
He had a hamstring pop off the bone to the point he had to have, like, normally, like, you pull a hamstring. Okay. There are very few guys that pop their hamstring off the bone. Like, just weird stuff. So, it's a risk. I also think there is an inherent risk in, is he like a dominant alpha scorer? No, I don't think he is. I think there are parts of his game, like I think there's some Landers to him in terms of he can get to the mid-range and pull up. He's a good facilitator, sees the floor well, passes well, he can really shoot it. But do I think he's like, just give him the ball and he's going to get you 20 every night? I don't necessarily know that that's his game. And that's okay.
Set up for that.
No, I think the roster is like could use one of those because I don't know who. Ultimately, I guess I don't know who. With 7 seconds left on the shot clock of a tie game with a minute left, who do you throw the ball to and say?
I don't know. I don't know that we need to be expecting 15 to 20 out of anybody.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that as
we were talking about different things.
Yeah, I'm saying that as like not that they average 15 or 20, but like on a night that you need it, like here's the ball, go get me 20. I don't know that that's necessarily CJ's game, but I think it can be the sum is greater than the parts. If you have a team like, say you can get Simus and you add CJ and you've added Reynolds and you've got Vic and you've got Dan and you've got Jizzle and Day. And now all of a sudden it's more of a team that like, okay, on this night, this is where the matchup is. And on this night, this is where the matchup is. And on this night, maybe we play downhill and get to the rim and attack a defense that doesn't get back. And on this night, like I had a conversation with somebody today about the team last year. And while it was by all metrics, by all indications, it was a good passing team. But it wasn't a great passing team. And what I mean by that is you didn't see a lot of like challenging, like, ooh, look at it. That pass was nasty. You saw a lot of smart passes, a lot of safe passes. But you didn't, and as a result, you saw low turnovers. But you didn't see a lot of creativity in the offense. It was very move the pop. All right, here's our spot. It wasn't overly. I don't even know the right, because I don't want to take away from what last year's team did offensively.
Right.
But I think there's another. I guess what I'm saying is I think there's another step they can take, and you do that with guys like Simus and with CJ, and even with Reynolds, with how good he is in the pick and roll. If you watch his tape, how good he is setting the screen, playing downhill. Vic is also very good at that. So I just think there's another level you could reach offensively with the ball and how it moves and the opportunities it creates. And I think CJ would be a big plus in that regard. So we'll see.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, there'll be more to come here in the coming days. I don't expect to hear much this weekend, but I think things could start picking up, early next week, into next week with CJ. And then you wanted to get to a rule change.
Yeah, there was a rule change. The NCAA decided that they don't want to continue to pause the clock. I believe this is the first time they've done this since 1968, if I remember that correctly.
Been a long time.
But they are going to now run the clock as the NFL does after first downs, rather than waiting for Tweedledum and Tweedledummer to move the chains, because why we're even still doing chains is still beyond me, because we have the technology. Right. It's in the ball. We already know that.
How do we know that? Huh? What?
Yeah. Said it on Twitter.
If it's on Twitter, it's got to be real, especially now.
Especially now. Come on now. Or maybe they said in an interview. I don't know. At least the NFL does. In any case, but yeah, they're going to run the clock except for the last 2 minutes of each half. Personally, I don't love this rule. I don't think that the time that you're going to save is really worth it. I think
no, it will be. I think it can be.
Let's think about this though. Let's go heavy estimates. Let's say you're saving 10 seconds each time you do this for roughly 30 times per team. You end up with 300 seconds per team. So you're getting about 6 minutes per team on average.
I think it also, though, more than just the black and white. I think it's more about tempo, because I think teams had this mentality, even the tempo teams, that okay, the clock stops when we get a first down, so we don't have to be as tempo on those plays.
I guess I'm just curious.
It's going to increase the tempo of the game overall.
Maybe, or maybe it just takes away from how many offensive plays a team runs. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Look, we don't need to watch a sport where teams are running 90 offensive plays a game.
I just wonder. I'm a traditionalist at heart more often than not, and I wonder how that's going to affect people trying to go after records and attain records and things of that nature.
If you're a traditionalist, then you should be for this, because that's how it traditionally was prior to the rule changing in the 60s.
Anyway.
No, hey, you're a traditionalist.
Tulane
Make college
drops
football great again.
Tulane drops one to the Cincinnati Bearcats in baseball. Bearcats win 12-9 in the opener of a 3-game homestand. So we'll see how that goes. They're looking to improve to 18-23 if they can get the sweep.
I like how you weren't budging on that. It was a funny joke. Laugh a little. Cranky.
We'll share some laughs. We'll share some laughs tomorrow.
Probably not here, but not here. But
not here
tomorrow.
Certainly not here.
Hey, look, feel free if you guys want to stop by and pay respects. Linneman Funeral Home tomorrow, 12 to 3. I know Kelly would love to see all of you. And yeah. So it's going to wrap it up. We will see you probably on Sunday. I've got family in town for a couple days, so we'll do as much as we can. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on Bearcat.com.
See ya!